Oh, hello there. In this video we're going to revisit the question, is Lego getting worse? Or, if you're American and can't speak properly, has Lego gotten worse? Now, this question is most definitely not answered. I ran a poll, and I always put a sort of stupid answer into my polls. Well, so far, to the question, is Lego getting worse? The majority answer is, I putted a Legos up my nose. I'm not sure I'm going to ask you guys these questions in the future if you're not going to take things seriously. So this is the second one of these videos that I've made. In a previous video, I compared a 2010 Luke's Landspeeder set with a 2017 Luke's Landspeeder set. And as is usual on my videos, I got a lot of the minifigures the wrong way round, confused them, put things in the wrong place, and you all noticed all of my many various mistakes. Thank you very much. So in that video I compared those two Landspeeders, and I came to the conclusion that I didn't think Lego was getting worse. But many people commented on that video saying, you can't do this comparison, you've worked out the price per piece, that's not a good way of comparing Lego sets. You missed out the set from 1999, all this kind of stuff. So I thought, well, let's revisit this with a different set. So I've actually got here 3 different Snowspeeders, and I'm sure I'm going to refer to these as sand speeders. I've got the 1999 Snowspeeder. This is a Lego system set. That's there. I'll show you these in greater detail using JCam, which is actually an iPhone. I've also got a 2010 Snowspeeder from the Hoth Wampa Cave. And yes, I know it's not just a Snowspeeder set. And the newest Snowspeeder that I've got is the 2014 Snowspeeder set. Now, I'm perfectly aware that there are bigger UCS Snowspeeders and that there are Snowspeeder sets from other years. But I thought we'd just compare these 3. It's a nice spread of years from 1999 to 2014. We'll compare these in several different ways and try to come to a conclusion as to whether or not Lego is getting worse. So let's first of all take a quick look at how they look and compare them to what the actual Snowspeeder looked like in Star Wars. I don't know which Star Wars film they were in. Hoth, I don't know, I guess Return of the Jedi? I don't know, let me know down below. So this is the oldest one. In fact, I might just get JCam working now. It's grey, which you don't kind of associate with Snowspeeders, do you? It's quite a nice model, quite detailed, quite a good size, looks good from every angle apart from underneath, so don't look at it underneath, essentially. It's got this here, this sort of wind shield thing that lifts up like that. Now, I actually bought these using a kind of unusual method, which I'm going to tell you about in my next video, indigestion. And that means that I don't actually have the minifigures for these sets. No great loss. I can look at the pictures and the number of minifigures. I don't actually physically need to have them here. I personally prefer the models to the minifigures, and I completely understand that some people prefer the minifigures to the models, or they're greedy and they like both. So this is a really nice model, and actually I was quite surprised that it looked this good, considering it was from 1999, because my sort of interpretation was that Lego sets had got quite a lot more detailed since 1999. So now let's look at the Hoth Wampa Cave model. This one is white, and at first glance it looks virtually identical. It's got the same sort of cockpit window there. The back detail actually is quite a bit more interesting. Now this one, to my eyes, looks quite a bit bigger than the other two. It looks quite a lot more detailed, I think, at first glance. I've stuck all these little round translucent bricks on here. They're not supposed to all be on here, but this is actually a gun. There we go, we'll never find those ever again. This one's also got a grappling hook, and underneath it's got these firing things. Look, let me show you. There we go. Hopefully you saw that. So this one's white as well. Now, interestingly, if you actually look at these in terms of accuracy to the films, arguably the most accurate one is this. Now let me show you what I mean. So the first image here on the Google image search is of quite a grey looking Snowspeeder with orange detail, which the 1999 one is. Okay, the grey one does look a little bit odd, but if I was going to rank these in terms of screen accuracy, it's the 1999 model, then the 2010 model, and then the 2014 model. So by that measure, Lego is getting much worse. Okay, now let's look at the models just in terms of the detail, like how good they actually look. This model is actually quite simple when you look at it. One thing I do really like about this model is that it has got printed bricks. This is a printed brick. This is a printed brick. I believe inside the model there's also a cockpit with an AT Walker on it. That's a printed brick. I love me a printed brick. In terms of sort of articulation on this model, this gun thing at the back swivels. These sort of flap things, they inflappen. On the 2010 model, we've also got these flapperators, and we've got, as I said, the grappling hook at the back. But these bricks here with the detail on, they are stickers. Yes, Lego has used stickers on this model, and you know, I don't really like stickers. I think they're cheap. I think they can peel off. In fact, one of them's already starting to peel off on that. I can see, you know, it does add detail, but please, just give us the printed bricks. But if we move on to the 2014 model, even though this is probably the least screen accurate in my eyes, I think this is a lot more detailed. We've got these kind of bits here that look really quite cool compared to these very simple, I don't know what you'd call it, sort of engine bits there. I like the fact that these guns at the front here have got little supports. It's just a really nice model. So in terms of sort of prettiness, I think this was probably the best. This was probably the second best, and this was the third best. Now, that's not quite so surprising because this middle set, which is a little bit simpler, I think, than the other two, it was actually from the Hoth Wumper Cave set. It did actually come with quite a lot of other stuff. So it's not surprising that it's a little bit simpler, which brings me on to the next point, which is play value. So how do these rank in terms of what you can actually do with them? Well, clearly the 1999 set is the simplest. This one actually came with 2 minifigures, which were much simpler, as we've discussed in the past. Lego minifigures have definitely improved as time has gone on. So it was this kind of simple model with very little to do on it and 2 minifigures. This set also comes with a sort of satellite dish thing, which is quite simple. For you kids born in the 2000s, what we had to do at times like that was use this thing called our imagination. Now this middle set here, as well as having the grappling hook at the back, it actually contained a Wumper cave. There's this sort of animal skeleton carcassy thing, a human skeleton. I don't know if this is Luke or not, but it's certainly somebody hanging from this Wumper cave. I think it's Luke because there's a little lightsaber in here, and I think if we do something like that, it flies out and he can catch it, except it doesn't fly out, it just flies off and you lose it under your laptop and never find it again. This set would have also come with a Snowspeeder pilot and a Wumper model as well, which is pretty cool. So this one has got really good play value. The last one, the 2014 set, it's got many more guns than the other set, so it's got this one and the ones underneath and the grappling hook. It also came with this small sort of weapony thing here, which is the thing I tried to get you to identify on YouTube stories, and you couldn't. But this set did come with 4 minifigures, 2 pilots, and also 2 snowtroopers as well. So quite a lot of play value in those, and if you like minifigures, this is definitely the best set for that. And let's just compare what they look like from the different angles. So firstly, from the front here, the 2014 set, that's the 2010 set, and that's the 1999 set. They virtually look identical. I'd say that these two look more similar than this one. What about from the top? So that's the 2014 set, the 2010 set, I better get that right, didn't I? And the 1999 set. This one is clearly bigger from the top. I can say when I put all three of them together, they don't feel like you're building the same set. The instructions are completely different, so there's definitely value in building all of these. You're not going to get bored. So there's quite a lot of detail on the back of the 2014 set. There's also quite a lot of detail on the back of the 2010 set. And the back of the 1999 one is very square and boring. But I think the winner is the 2010 set. So what about the instructions in these sets? Well, I've got all the instruction booklets here. Let's start with the older one. So I was quite surprised with the Lego system instructions, which incidentally contained 47 pages of instructions. I really liked them. Now, the pages in the instructions don't actually tell you which bricks you need for each part of the instructions, so you have to kind of pay attention to the diagrams quite a bit. They've got a nice little background, pictures, different picture in the top of each page to kind of look at. It's a scene from one of the Star Wars films. Now, the only thing was, it was very, very difficult to identify the colour of the bricks from the instructions, especially these sort of dark bluish grey and other grey coloured bricks. So I found that a bit challenging, but I got over it, and the little pictures at the top of the pages won me over there. Now for the 2010 set, you get a much bigger instruction booklet, which actually contains 55 pages of instructions, and then we're back to the sort of Lego instructions we're familiar with, where they tell you what you need in each set of instructions. So these are just quite straightforward, easy to follow instructions, but very plain, no sort of background and thing to keep you entertained. And then we have the 2014 set, 55 pages of instructions, again quite plain pages, but easy to follow. As instructions go, I found the oldest ones the most interesting to look at, even though they were the hardest to follow, which I guess makes them the worst instructions. So I can't come to any conclusions on that. Requires making some kind of decision, doesn't it? So what about value for money? How much did these sets actually cost? So the Snowspeeder from 1999 actually had a recommended retail price of $20. Okay, that's very cheap actually for that little set. The Hoth Wampa Cave had a retail price of $40 in 2010, so that's double the price. Quite expensive, but then you do get the Wampa Cave as well, and then the Snowspeeder from 2014 cost $30, so $10 cheaper, but you get less sort of stuff to play with. As you frequently point out to me, that doesn't mean anything, because what about inflation? Well, I've got an inflation calculator up here, and I've just decided I was going to use it, but I can't be bothered to use it. I'm just going to think about it and decide. I think the best value sets are the newer ones. The Wampa and the actual Wampa Cave for the 2010 set, as well as this Snowspeeder. I think that's superb value for money. And I think the newer one, which is $30, you get 4 minifigures and this very detailed Snowspeeder. So I think these are still very good value for money. In terms of price per piece, which you also don't like, the 1999 set was 9.3 cents per piece. It contained 215 pieces. The Hoth Wampa Cave from 2010 was 13.5 cents per piece, and it contained 297 pieces. So it had about almost 50% more pieces, but that isn't a good way of comparing it. I was going to do it by weight. I might do that in another video, but actually, you know, it came with a Wampa figure. I think that's kind of probably explains at least some of the difference in the price per piece. So, you know, don't worry about it too much. And the newer 2014 Snowspeeder contained 278 pieces and was 10.8 cents per piece. So that's better value than the 2010 set, which is pretty good considering it comes with so many minifigures. That set actually contained 278 pieces, so there were more pieces in this set than there were in the 1999 set. So by quite a long way as well, so I think that's quite impressive. I think that does actually show that this set is definitely more detailed. So let's try and wrap this up. Let's try and come to some kind of conclusion about which one of these sets is better. I like the 1999 set. I like that it looks as detailed as it does when it was only released in 1999. I like that the bricks have not got stickers on, they're actually printed bricks, and I like the instructions. So this is one of my favourites, one of my 3 favourites. I like the 2010 set because of the Wampa Cave and the Wampa minifigure. A little bit more expensive, double the price, but I think you get quite good value for money there. And I like the fact that the 2014 set has got the extra guns, the extra play value, and comes with all those minifigures. So if I had to rank these in terms of the different things that I've mentioned, I think the 1999 set is really cool, but I think it's the worst of the 3. The 2010 set is pretty good, there's a lot of play value there, but for all the minifigures and the articulation and guns on this 2014 Snowspeeder, I think that is clearly the winner for me. Is Lego getting worse? No, I don't think it is. I think it is definitely getting better. But let me know down below what you think, and do you think I've made the right decision about which Snowspeeder is the best here? If not, tell me why not. It's not good enough to just say, no, you got it wrong, it's the 1999 one that's the best. I want a proper reason. Anyway, I'm going to tell you in a future video how I actually got my hands on these. Quite an interesting story behind that, and maybe you could grab yourself a Lego bargain. So if you want to hear about that, please do subscribe. There are some videos here which are really very interesting, and if you enjoyed this, you'll definitely enjoy those. Please give it a thumbs up, and I shall see you next time for another video.